Basketball season is here, and with the introduction of the men's and women's team at Hoosier Hysteria, both teams are ready to go.
IU Olympians from Rio made their return to Bloomington this past weekend as the men's and women's swimming and diving teams were back in the home waters to open the season. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
For joining us. I'm David Sugarman.
And I'm Juliana Sherry. There was a lot going on around campus this past week, but the main event was Hoosier Hysteria. Students and fans lined up for hours, hoping to get a seat in the new Simon Scott Assembly Hall.
Indiana fans got their first look at the renovations to the building and the new faces on the men's and women's teams. Saturday had everything from dance moves to dunks. The women taking to the court first, do-it-all point guard Tyra Buss made her presence known, winning the women's three-point contest and avenging last year's loss to Troy Williams by outshooting Thomas Bryant in the Battle of the Sexes. ESPN analyst Seth Greenberg was the host for the event and also was a judge in the dunk contest won by OG Anunoby. One surprise for the team, the men's basketball team and staff received their championship rings from last year. Then the men's team scrimmaged to end the festivities. With the completion of Hoosier Hysteria, it's time to get ready for Kansas in the season opener for the men and Presbyterian for the women. The men look to repeat as Big Ten champions as the women look to make it to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. Basketball reporter Jordan Burrows spoke with Zan Piaroli, the men's basketball beat writer from the Indiana Daily Student, about some of the key moments at Hoosier Hysteria and what to expect from both the men and the women.
Tell me the first thoughts, what you saw between the men's basketball team and the women's team. Well, first, starting off with the women's, Tyra Buss, unbelievable point guard she is. Defending her three-point crown, even win the whole thing. She was defeated by Troy Williams last year in the finals, but then was able to take out Thomas Bryant,
Thomas Bryant, how did he even make it in there?
I don't know, who knows? He might be a new element to his game. But yeah, I'm really impressed with what we saw with her. Her shooting ability, even on the flip side with Amanda Cahill, she contested her in the contest. And Terry Morin has really high hopes for this team coming into this season. They made it to the round of 32 last year, hoping to get beyond that this year as we head into the season for them.
And Terry Morin, she's very excited about it. As Zane mentioned too, really trying to push for that Elite Eight and Final Four. Upcoming outlook on the season, I think this team can do it. They have returning starters, they have new players, they've got a great core group of girls that can get them there, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And it really comes from that leadership. They return everybody, all their starters, and it's there. It's there for them to build off of. They shouldn't be regressing in any way, any shape or form. So really positive outlook to see what the women can do in Assembly Hall and throughout the season this year.
Exactly, and the women's team has a lot of work to do, and I think they're going to get there. Let's change to the flip side here. The men's basketball team have a lot of new recruits. They came out for the three-point contest, dunk contest. Coach Tom Crean presented championship rings. Tell me what we thought about Tom Crean's speech here at presenting the championship rings. How do you think that went?
Well, I thought Tom Crean's speech was, incredibly moving to his players on the court. You see it in anything that he does. He has a lot of passion in everything he does.
Emotional.
A little emotional in everything. And even whenever he presented the ring to Colin Hardman is going to be out for, we don't know how long his timetable is, but with a knee injury. And so really interesting to see how IU will fill the void there. And it can come from a lot of different places, really. And maybe it starts up in the front court, getting some, maybe in the back court, getting some of that defensive pressure
with
on
Duran
the ball.
And Thomas Bryant a little bit then?
Yes, even that. And then, but really what I was impressive to see throughout the scrimmage was Josh Newkirk and James Blackman Jr. creating turnovers up near the half-court line. I thought that was incredibly good by them, especially James Blackman's defensive woes last year. And then Devontae Green coming out, making 15 points, 5 threes in the scrimmage. Really good performance by him as well.
I thought they looked really well, and Green played really well having those 5 threes. A lot of good defensive step-ups for team going in, going out. I know it was just the scrimmage, but that still gives us a lot to look forward to the season. Tom Crean said it. It's a new squad pretty much. They have to play. They have returners, but they're going to have to play a little bit different. The new guys coming in, Duran Davis and stuff, and Josh Newkirk is back. The transfer from Pitt Tell me what you expect for the upcoming season here.
I think we can expect a lot of things from this team. Probably about a second or third place finish in the Big Ten. I mean, it's going to be tough to get past Michigan State. Wisconsin's got a lot of big guys. Nigel Hayes, they got 3 preseason all Big Ten players with Hayes and Happ. And just they had a lot of talent up there in Madison. So that's
the Big Ten is going to be good this year.
The Big Ten is going to be incredibly good. I mean, you can't forget about Purdue, Maryland at all. No team's going to go by the wayside. It's going to be an incredibly tough challenge all season for any team, really. And so I think with Indiana, you're going to see a team that's tested early. They faced Kansas the first game of the season in Hawaii. They'll play North Carolina here in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. That'll be a good early test for them on their home court. We'll see how they can get away with that. And then going into Louisville and Butler, in Indy as non-conference games as well, heading into the Big Ten season. We'll see how they regroup and how they come out on top. Because we saw last year, it wasn't necessarily the best starts to the year last year for IU, but they came out strong and ended up in the Sweet 16. So anything's possible for this team.
The men's team will open up their season at Assembly Hall with an exhibition game against Hope College on November 1st, and the women start their season at home as well against Indianapolis on the 6th.
The men's soccer team played host to St. Louis on Tuesday in a match of 2 of the most successful programs in college sports. Jessica Jopic was out at the pitch.
Starting strong in the first half, the Hoosiers men's soccer team takes the lead in the 22nd minute with a goal by Tanner Thompson. Increasing the lead even more, sophomore Austin Poncho netted the ball for his 2nd goal of the season. Within just 3 minutes of Poncho's goal, Thompson scores the Hoosiers' 3rd of the game and dominates the field as he nets the ball again with just 2 minutes left in the half, giving the Hoosiers a 4-0 lead over the Billikens and recording his first career hat trick. Switching goalkeepers in the second half, the Billikens looked to close the gap, but the Hoosiers continued their momentum from the first half and increased their lead with a goal by Andrew Gutman, his first of the season, putting the score at 5-0. The Billikens put up a fight, but the Hoosiers managed to keep their lead, finishing the game with Indiana 5, St. Louis 0. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Jessica Jopic.
The men will play the regular season finale on October 30th when they host number 14, Michigan State.
The field hockey team had their senior day this past Friday, hosting the Ohio State Buckeyes for their final home match this year. 7 days ago, Noelle Ruta was named National Goalkeeper of the Week. And this past Friday, she started strong against the Buckeyes, saving 8 shots in the first 20 minutes after OSU received 4 penalty corners. However, her success in goal did not last. Esther Clatet-Alcina, the Buckeyes freshman midfielder, put in the only goal of the match in the 24th minute off of a backhand shot from 15 yards out. The Hoosiers had a number of opportunities late in the game to tie things up, but their best chance came when they earned a penalty corner in the 70th minute. Kate Barber, one of Indiana's 4 seniors, shot the ball immediately into the back of the net. Unfortunately for Barber and the Hoosiers, per field hockey rules, the ball must stay below the 18-inch backboard on the first shot if it is a hit. Thus, the goal did not count and the Hoosiers dropped to the Buckeyes 1-0. Noelle Ruta finished with another stellar performance of 6 saves. The Hoosiers finished their home schedule with 3 wins and 4 losses and will head on the road to Penn State in their final regular season weekend.
The football team went on the road to face Northwestern this past Saturday, hoping for an easier test after facing 3 ranked teams in a row. Football reporter Drew Martin was in Evanston for the game and a 3rd consecutive loss for the Hoosiers.
Early first quarter, Northwestern is already rolling up 7-0 when quarterback Clayton Thorson hits a streaking Austin Carr as he stumbles into the end zone to make it 14-0. IU does get on the scoreboard in the first half, but is only able to put up 3 points from this 22-yard field goal from Griffin Oaks. Second quarter, Macon Wilson gets past T. Gray Scales on the play and makes him pay with this nice grab in the back of the end zone for another first half score for the Wildcats. Next drive, Richard Lego floats one over the middle to Luke Timian, and it's wrestled for and ultimately ends up in the hands of Montre Hardage for the interception. And Northwestern takes advantage of that defensive stop with a nice drive down the field, finding holes in IU's secondary and settling for a field goal right before halftime. After the half, IU puts together a solid drive in the second half with big plays from Divine Redding and Nick Westbrook. Westbrook caps off this drive with a trick play that brings the Hoosiers within striking distance. Fourth quarter, Kyle Cairo with the cast on one hand makes the leaping grab for the interception. Here's another look at that one as Northwestern takes this one with a final of 24-14. Richard Lego throws for 319 yards but has 2 interceptions, and the Hoosiers ultimately fall to 3-4 on the season and 1-3 in conference play. Now looking forward to IU's clash with the Maryland Terrapins, one major factor will be IU's ability to score in the red zone. According to NCAA.com, Maryland ranks 6th in the nation in red zone offense, and IU will be looking to improve that part of their game to outscore the Terrapins. In addition to the red zone efficiency of Maryland, look for Divine Redding to have a big game as Maryland has been giving up an average of 250 yards rushing on the season. Coach Wilson stressed in his press conference on Monday that a fast start will be crucial to the team's success late in games.
Maryland coming in as a very good first quarter team, and we have a trend of starting, we tell our team all the time, ESPN Classics, they show all the come from behind games because that don't happen a lot. That's why they show all those great come from behinds, because when you get behind, we tell our students, when you start off with a bad first semester, it's hard to have a great GPA. You win most games when you win the first. Everybody talks about the fourth quarter, but when you get off to a good start. So we'll keep addressing that. We got to get that figured out. It's hurt us for sure the last couple weeks in a row.
For IUS TV Sports, I'm Drew Martin.
Indiana returns to Memorial Stadium this week against a Maryland team that needs just one more win to become bowl eligible.
The men's and women's swimming and diving team began their seasons this past weekend, hosting Florida and Texas on Friday and Saturday, and picked up 3 wins. Marwan Elkamash placed second in the men's 1,000 freestyle. Blake Pirioni won the men's 200 freestyle, defeating NCAA champion and Olympian Townley Haas. Now, IU men's diving saw a strong showing from Olympians James Conner and silver medalist Michael Hickson. Conner took first in the 3-meter dive, while Hickson took third. Both qualified for the NCAA. In the women's 100 breast, gold medalist Lily King, who's also an NCAA champion, took first place. Teammate Laura Morley took 5th. For women's diving, Michael Bauer took second in the 1-meter. The men managed to win every meet they competed in, ultimately finishing the day undefeated. Both teams will travel to Kentucky on Friday to face the Wildcats and the Tennessee Volunteers.
This past weekend was a great chance to rack up your Crimson Guard reward points. As we've been telling you, the more points you have, the more prizes you can get. David, have you downloaded your app yet?
I have, Juliana. It's quick, it's easy. Look, if you want better seats at men's basketball games, you want autographed items from coaches and players, this is the way to get it, and for free. Here are a few sports you can get to that will help add points to your total. The rugby team is at home again this weekend, facing a Wisconsin team that will determine who heads to the Big Ten Rugby Union Championship this season.
The winner of this game has won the Big Ten each of the past 3 seasons, and the Hoosiers received a bit of a wake-up call this past weekend. Too many mistakes on the pitch allowed the Falcons of Notre Dame College to escape Bloomington with a 31-30 victory. The matchup put 2 undefeated teams together, but Indiana was playing without Captain Bryce Campbell, forward Michael Weimer, and back Teddy Terrazas. The Hoosiers are still eligible for the Big Ten Championship, and this loss does not affect their ability to make it to that game.
The women were also in action this past weekend on the road, getting a 2nd consecutive victory over Purdue.
The rugby teams are playing their home games at the intramural fields across from McNutt on the IU campus. Saturday's match is at 1. Don't forget to like our page IUS TV Sports on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IUS TV Sports.
For Juliana Sherry, I'm David Sugarman, and we'll see you next week.